and this headline pops up. 80 suspicious actors and material witnesses under scrutiny by January 6 defense attorneys. Well, you can imagine that caught my interest. Another overblown headline? Well, that's where the research began. The story you're about to see, I will present the facts only. I'll let you make your determination. There was so much information, I chose to just track 3 or 4 of the characters from start to finish. From start of this doorway, which will become more relevant at the end of the story. Moving forward to the defendant, Kenneth Harrelson, seen here in the lower left portion of your screen and here dead center. As this CBS News headline states, Florida member of the Oath Keepers charged with conspiracy in connection to Capitol riot. Well, now, this filing. The one we're going to cover today used within it the word entrapment. The January 6th defense attorney's earth-shattering 80 suspicious actor court filing bombshell, understatement to say the very least. So hang in there with me for just a moment. My name is Justice Knight. Today, so where we left off, this court filing. United States of America versus Ken Harrelson. The filing states, at the very header, motion for government to turn over investigations file and other information and to provide assistance necessary to identify witnesses, review files for Brady information, and to facilitate witness assessment, trial preparation, and service of subpoenas. What does that all mean? Well, a story unlike nothing you've heard. I promise you that. So federal authorities, by the way, let me give you a little background of the indictment against Ken Harrelson now, the charges against Ken Harrelson, previously served in the U.S. Army, and that the Oath Keepers, a loose collection of individuals who believe the government is attempting to strip Americans of their rights, are focused on recruiting current and former military members, law enforcement, and first responders. Among the 9 Oath Keepers who were previously indicted, at least 5 have previously served in the military or worked in law enforcement. In addition to the conspiracy charge, Harrelson is also charged with obstruction of an official proceeding and aiding and abetting destruction of government property and aiding and abetting and entering and remaining in a restricted buildings or ground. And what penalty does that hold? Harrelson could face a maximum of 36 years in prison and up to $850,000 in fines if convicted. Well, of course, his attorney's fighting back as you would have expected, but not in the way others have fought back. At a whole new level. It all starts here. Possible entrapment information. If it could be established that the suspicious actors, these SAs as they call them in the filing, and again, a public court filing, were government agents, this could amount to entrapment defense that will dispose of the 7th indictment prior to trial. If it could be established that the suspicious actors, even without established government agency, So the attorney's telling you exactly what he is looking for. What inspired him, I wonder? Is it possible that the attorney is pulling from this case 2 acquitted, mistrials declared for 2 others in Michigan Governor Whitmer kidnapping plot? According to the article, with at least 12 undercover FBI informants or agents involved in the group, the defendants argued that they were, and here we go again, entrapped by federal law enforcement, resulting in investigation. The DOJ and the Office of the Inspector General report on the FBI's management of its confidential human source validation process. The FBI did not comply with the AG guidelines and faces ongoing challenges in overseeing long-term C. So this brings us to a second reason why this may now be coming up. United States versus Thomas E. Caldwell. Motion to dismiss counts 1, 2, 3, and 4 of the indictment. And in the subtext of that filing was found at least 20 FBI assets were embedded around the Capitol on January 6th. Additionally, discovery proves that the Oath Keepers were being monitored and recorded prior to January 6th. So do you think that's all that inspired this case? Oh no. According to the new filing, video evidence the defense gained access to only recently shows that some of the 80 people attacked police, other people, and members of the Oath Keepers entered the Capitol on the west side with apparent permission or acquiescence of government actors, opened the Columbus doors, remember that photo I showed you in the very beginning, on the east side of the Capitol from the inside, possibly with even further assistance of government actors, and deployed sophisticated crowd behavior techniques, orientating themselves between and police. And again, from the filing now, high-definition video released expeditiously by the government in this case since January from a mutual legal assistance treaty with France, combined with surveillance information that has become reviewable only within the last 8 weeks. And we have our turning point in this story now. This is where this is new. This is why this is bombshell. And this is why he is declaring entrapment. Raises significant concerns of informants, influencers, and insiders whose activities are now clearly observable. Well, that was under protective order. So you and I can't see it, but when these cases come out, we can see the evidence presented. And hence, this all beckons back. And you remember this now. This 14,000 hours of January 6th footage that everybody's been waiting for. And a little bit comes out here, and a little bit comes out there, but when it does, you see strange things like this. And that's just the tip of the iceberg of what's presented. This also being called into question. Who was the man speaking with? You know, again, this new footage is able to link all of these scenes together. I don't know if you are aware of what that is. That's the Columbus door and the man who ultimately ends up pushing it open. The additional footage found here will only be discussed at Restricted Republic because I feel it important that you actually watch the video from start to finish, and it is today as heartbreaking as it was for me in the very beginning, but the story around that is an entirely separate issue. Because this issue goes to the heart of Brady information. And I'll read this for you very quickly. The information demanded is exculpatory, that the government is required to produce under Brady v. Maryland 373 U.S. 83, 1963, and its progeny. This information will prove these defendants to be innocent. Brady requires prosecutors to disclose materially exculpatory evidence in the government's possession to the defense. Brady material or evidence the prosecutor is required to disclose under this rule includes any evidence favorable to the accused, evidence that goes towards negating a defendant's guilt that would reduce a defendant's potential for sentence, or evidence going to the credibility of a witness. And this lawyer is calling that out specifically through the information requested. New video evidence, once again, that is the key to this entire story, why this is so different than anything you've heard before. As a practical matter, only reviewable in the last 8 weeks, he says that multiple times, suggests that individuals referenced in Attachment 1, and wait till you see Attachment 1, I can only get through a fraction of Attachment 1. So I take 3 or 4 of the suspicious actors within Attachment 1, and we're going to follow them from start to finish. And I'll leave you a link below so you can see the rest, but let's go back to this. Attachment 1 were all material witnesses, some of whom also were suspicious actors that witnessed or engaged in the following conduct, including attacking police and others, attacking oath keepers and others, entering Capitol doors in the West with apparent permission or acquiescence of government actors, opening the Columbus door in the East from the inside, possibly with even further assistance of government actors, deploying sophisticated crowd behavior techniques. And it goes on. Again, deploying sophisticated crowd behavior techniques, orientating themselves at demarcation lines between attendees and police, and removing and concealing signs, barriers, fencing, sometimes while being observed by police to deny others of consciousness of guilt. It's not done. They also, why they want the information, sabotaging the day's activities by inflating participation into a spectacle event to where attendance levels outstrip physical space and effectiveness of understaffed U.S. Capitol Police and the Metropolitan Police Department compromised its response, confusing attendees and imposing on all